Due to the recent bill that has been passed by the National Association of Realtors, we as realtors are now required to have our customers sign a buyer's broker agreement. Since we live in a digital world and everyone's busy, I figured a quick little video on what the buyer's broker agreement states and how it benefits you would be helpful in such a busy world that we live in. So, of course, I'm always here and available by phone to answer any questions you have about this video or about the agreement. So first question, what is a buyer's broker agreement? Well, sometimes we refer to them as BBAs. It is a commitment between you as buyers and myself as a sales associate or realtor, same thing, under my brokerage, which is Lucky Palms Realty. So this agreement is a discussion about my obligations to you as your sales associate / realtor and your obligations to me as my customers. So I'm going to go over each section in the sample copy that I sent to you to explain what each of those sections mean. And again, like I said, I have plenty of... All right, great. So let's go over each section of this agreement. Number 1 just states all the parties involved in the home buying process. Number 2 is the length of the commitment. I typically put 1 year out because sometimes folks are in a hurry, sometimes they're not, and they just need a little bit more time to shop around. No big deal. Number 3, this is the type of property that we're looking at. So it could be residential, it could be vacant land, or it could be commercial. So that's what I'll put in that section. And then the last section under the property that we're going to be discussing is the location of what you're interested in. Now, sometimes this changes, so I'll put the original county that we're looking in, and then I'll put some surrounding counties just in case we decide to look outside of that specific county that we originally talked about. So that is that section of the agreement. Let's move on to section number 4. What are my obligations during this process? Well, as your real estate agent, I will use my professionalism and my knowledge to help shop for those specific properties that you are interested as a consumer. Also, as your professional realtor, I will assist you in negotiating when it's time to make an offer regarding the terms of the contract. And lastly, as your representation, I will cooperate with utmost respect and professionalism with the agent on the other end of the transaction. Very important when we are ready to go ahead and make an offer. Section B under number 4 states that my job also as your representation is to inform you in the event that there are other consumers or other buyers who are looking to make competing offers on the same property. However, and very important, my loyalty is to you, and at no time will I share any of the information that you and I have discussed regarding the terms of the offer we plan to make. This section also states that you agree to meet me at reasonable times to view the properties that you're interested in. It also states that you as a buyer will consult a professional for appropriate advice regarding legal questions or tax questions, maybe questions regarding environmental issues, engineering, anything like that that my license does not specialize in or pertain to. The section also states that you will not hold me liable for any losses or damages of any kind during our home shopping adventures. So, for instance, you lose your wallet, you can't blame me. And lastly, this also states that you're going to make a very diligent effort performing the contract terms that we agree upon during the transaction. Number 6, this section discusses a retainer. I don't charge one, so it's easy. We can skip right over that. Number 7, this is the compensation section. This is the big one since NAR passed the recent bill. This section discusses that in the event the sellers are not offering a buyer's agent compensation, then you and I will have a discussion on how we would like to proceed. Now, keep in mind, there are still options and creative ways for me to go about asking the sellers to cover my compensation at closing day. But however, if it's denied, then we're gonna have to have the conversation on how you would like to proceed. We move past the home and continue looking, or if you're in the position where you're able to pay for the compensation at the closing table, then that's a discussion that we'll have at that time. I automatically put 3% in the agreement because we don't usually see anything above 3%, and it's easier to go down than to go up. So in the event that the sellers are offering compensation, a lot of times I see 2%, 2.5%, 2.25%. I've taken them many times, so I'm not worried about it. I just put 3% to cover. And then if the sellers are offering 2%, then we'll have an additional addendum stating that they're going to pay me 2% and you do not have to cover the difference. Section 8. This is my protection period. So the best way for me to explain this is, say we go look at a property together and you decide you're not interested in it. But 2-3 months down the road, we still are within our agreement, but you decide that you are going to fire me and go use someone else and go make an offer on that home that I showed you. Within that 180 days, if it's still that 180 days that I wrote in there is still in effect, then that is my protection period. Since I brought that property to you, then I can still go collect the compensation to pay for the work that I had done. Number 9, this states terminating the contract. If for whatever reasons you're not happy with the services that I have provided you up to a certain point and we're still within our 1-year agreement, but you're wanting to move on and hire a new real estate agent, no harm, no foul. We can go ahead and do that. I don't charge a cancellation fee. Number 10, this discussion discusses what's involved in the event there's a dispute. So any controversies, claims, or specific issues between the parties need to be settled first with a mediator. If nothing can come to terms as far as an agreement goes, then it goes into litigation. But the agreement is that each specific party is obligated to pay for their own fees during that process. Number 11, this section states that if something were to happen to me, maybe medically, then this gives me the ability to just reassign this agreement to my broker or to another fellow agent. Number 12, brokerage relationship. What is that? Well, I'm a single agent, and I'm going to first always be a single agent for you. Is broken down between 1 and 9, and it states how I will deal honestly and fairly. I will provide you with loyalty, confidentiality, and obedience. I will give full disclosure of everything that I was informed of regarding that property. I will account for all funds with skill and diligence in the transaction process, and I'll present all offers and counter offers in a timely manner. I will also disclose any and all known information that I've learned about that property that may possibly affect the value of it. And last section, easy peasy. If for some reason I have a home listed that you might be interested in going to tour, and then we go tour it, you love it, you want to make an offer, now I'm going to be working both sides of the deal. So that section underneath the single agent is called consent to transition to transaction broker. Yes, I did that 5 times real fast. This allows me to transition into being a liaison between both parties. So now I'm working for the transaction versus working as a single agent for you. However, the only thing that's different about this is just limited confidentiality. So unless you specifically tell me otherwise. An example here is, say I know that you're willing to go up in price based on the original offer that we made, then I can go back to the sellers and say, hey, I think they'll be willing to come up in price since you're not happy with this original offer. Let's go ahead and counter and see if they're willing to accept that. But if you do not wish for me to share that information, then all you have to say is, Melissa, please do not share that I'm willing to go up in price, and I will respectfully keep that information confidential. Thank you so much for listening. I truly hope this explanation of what the buyer's broker agreement states was very helpful to you. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And I really, really am honored to represent you, and I'm really excited to work with you during such an exciting time. Melissa Dean, Lucky Palms Realty, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.